Hey guys, just so you know, the following episode we had a few technical issues with microphones. We're supposed to be sound guys, but we didn't quite get it right this time. So apologies in advance if the audio is a little bit subpar, but we'll be back to normal next time. Enjoy.
Something to scream about! What is up, everybody? My name is Cam.
And my name is Jordan. Welcome to
Distorted Views, Something to Scream About podcast.
I don't think you've ever done an intro.
No, that's why I was just like, I don't know what to say.
But I'm here for it. Episode 18.
Wow.
18th episode, and we're a month behind because I decided to get up and leave and go and disappear straight for a month.
UK.
Did UK and Europe
Everywhere,
trip,
yeah.
and it was honestly fabulous. People forget how awesome it is traveling outside of your comfort zone and your hometown to see what the wild world out there has to offer. Seriously, some really cool things out there, and encourage everybody to go out and see it. But this isn't about me. This is not about my trip and my story.
I was sick for 3 weeks, so that's all.
Yeah, Cam was sick.
Music though, so that's good.
That's right, yeah. Well, basically, let's just catch up. Let's go back through some housekeeping and catch up, first of all, on what people may have missed in the last couple of months. So, yeah, obviously me being away for a month of it, the last month, and then prior to that, we were pretty much just in the studio finishing off some music and Glitch, which you would have seen come out.
That's out now, so, go have a listen to it, Spotty, YouTube. Just sort of use Glitch.
We did a visualizer on YouTube, so there's some cool little visuals to go with it as well. So check it out. Let us know any feedback if you have any on the new song. It's always nice to be putting out new music. We have stacks of new music.
Yeah. Speaking of music, we're now making some changes in the last month. So pretty much we've been, as you guys would know, we've been on a hunt for a new guitarist, trying a few different people out. Anyone who's in a band knows, it can be a very long process, especially when you've already got, your footing going and music already out there. It's, there's a lot of tabs that need to be written out. There's a lot of nuances and, we have to mute here and, you let this part ring out and all these little things that you do in a live show and blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot to catch these people up on and, having multiple different guitarists try out and trying to find a good fit. It's a long process. So I'll probably just segue into it now anyway. So here's an update with us for housekeeping is like we've decided to become temporarily a trio, me, Jordan, and Zach, just doing what all of our talents bring to the table. So I'm going to not necessarily take a step back from vocals. I'm still going to be doing vocals where I can, but really letting Zach's talent come in now and putting him up the front as the front man and letting his screams really dominate the music for a while and me playing guitar full time and letting Jordan on the drums and then running bass through front of house until we find a bass player. Yeah,
I think part of all this kind of adaptation we're having to go through, obviously, we launched with Matt and Zach as the two new guys. Matt sadly wasn't up to the challenge. It wasn't something that he wanted to do, which is totally fine. It just, as you say, it means that we sort of have to repeat the process, finding new people and going through taking the time to teach them, bring them up to speed. And often that can really kind of slow proceedings down as to how much time you normally have to dedicate to certain things you're having to then spend to catch somebody up. And then obviously when somebody then might not be able to continue on or have the same level of commitment, it just leaves you right back at square one to having to go through this process.
It ends up being like, are we in a band to write music and play shows, or are we in a band to endlessly try people out and put, a lot of our attention into catching people up for 2-3 months just for them to turn around and say the project's not for them.
Yeah, exactly. Which is fine. It's just, it is what it is. It's just part of being in a group environment and the fact that people are able to leave and join different projects so freely these days. It just leaves us in a point where we've just got to focus on us, what we have, and what we're able to create with the three of us that are dedicated to being here. Yeah. And obviously we really want to be on stage. So playing shows is kind of a part of where we're having to adapt to our music so it's playable with just 3 people.
Yeah, and luckily, being producers, we have little workarounds, and we have good technology and good gear. Fucking got hay fever and stuff today, guys. So I apologize. I'm gonna be coughing throughout the entire podcast. I've not smoked weed. My eyes are red from sneezing. But yeah, but we got some new gear. We can talk about that later. But yeah, there's ways to send and receive signals, and running bass through front of house is a way that with backing tracks, everything can still be lined up, and you can get that live sound of low end in your songs without actually having a bassist there. Now, we would prefer a bassist there because it looks cooler. It provides to the live show. Nobody wants to just be like a DJ and press play and just let the song play, and it's not as much of a performance. But the live drums, the live guitars, and the live vocals will all still be completely live. It'll just be the bass at this point in time that'll be through front of house. But exactly like what Jordan was saying, we want to play shows again. We want to get out there and make music. And the last 6 months or even longer, it's just been us trying to find another guitarist, trying to find someone to fit, the groove and the commitment. And obviously, as you would gather, we're very committed and very serious, and not a lot of people vibe with that, which is completely fine. But playing shows will allow us to meet that person in the crowd that goes, "Oh, you guys put on a hell of a show. I love your music. Like, I would love to jump in." And then maybe we might meet a guitarist that way, instead of us dedicating so much time to talking and feeding through messages and Facebook groups and websites and all these things that we could just put our attention to. Let's just make music and play shows, because that's what it's about, right?
Yeah, totally. So yeah, we don't want to waste any more time kind of going through that. Let's try and organically find somebody, which is very difficult. But, as you say, we're just going to put ourselves out there, keep making the music and doing what we can do.
And eventually someone will rock up and be like, we try out, and he'll be the one.
That's right. He'll be the one for us.
The charming Prince Charming.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we've been. We have been focusing on writing the music, but it has been a sort of primarily written for dual guitars, which means a lot of the music that may be coming out that we're going to start pushing out that's already finished is not technically able to be played without that second guitarist. So we're having to adapt our set, maybe bring in a few new tracks that allow us to play some 3-piece stuff, and then try and maybe bring some of those songs back in once we've got that extra member. But for now, we just really have to kind of focus on music that we can play and put out what we've worked on. But yeah,
it doesn't mean the songs have to go in the bin. It just means right now we can release them, you guys can listen to them, but when we play live, we just will have to, have them on the sidelines waiting until we can play them live, and then eventually we'll be able to. But yeah, we're writing some new stuff now that's actually doable live, which is, the silver lining. It's like we're writing more music. We're back to being, writing more songs and getting on that grind to be able to play live. And, even if it's just small little shows and little venues, man, like I'm keen. I miss putting on shows for people and playing, and even if they're like you don't get paid for them, it's still fun. It's getting out there in the scene, it's supporting other bands and other talent, and it's just that's something I think we've missed. So it'll be really fun getting back into the scene again, I think.
That's very true, and I think kind of that brings us nicely into what I wanted to talk about, kind of as a main topic today, which is putting on a good show. And not necessarily from the point of view of having good stage presence and knowing your parts and kind of this kind of thing. Like, everyone knows that to play a good show, you need to know the music that you're playing. So that's a given. But I'm talking about more sort of in terms of, personally, when I go up on stage, even though I might know the songs very, very well, I will get this sort of anxious, nervous excitement to be playing, to perform well, to have a good show, to not make a mistake, to make sure that every hit is like on point. And that pressure, especially when you've got a whole audience in front of you, and the lights are on, there's like cameras in your face and things like this, it gets very daunting and like nerve-wracking to get up there and play as if nobody's watching you in your bedroom when you can just do it without thinking. So I guess I'll just sort of talk to a few things first, and then if you got anything you want to add, then jump in. But When I like, as I say, when I'm going up on stage beforehand, I think there's like a big thing to be said for pre-show rituals or pre-show warm-up. You know, how do you get yourself into that mindset of like, all right, I'm about to go on stage and smash it? Whether that be for a lot of artists that we know, like say Slipknot, they get their makeup done and they put on their masks and stuff, and that's their kind of
transition into
they're getting into character and they're getting into the zone of all right, we're about to put on a Slipknot show. You know, for us, we don't have masks or, you know, face paint or anything, but we still want to go into character as Distorted Views and really emulate our music and our energy up on stage. So beforehand, I'm kind of in my own sort of like corner, maybe playing out on my lap some of the drum parts and kind of getting into the feel of each of the songs and trying to embody what I think is going to be the right performance kind of, I don't know, persona to put on.
One thing I've learned would definitely be is like just having fun. Like literally having fun up there and not being like you know, not every note needs to be like when we're not playing a studio record here. Like people aren't necessarily coming to watch you play and nail that riff note for note for note. Like, yeah, you got to play the song and you got to know the song, but you know, sometimes it's more about, you know, just having fun and enjoying yourself. And then when you're enjoying yourself, your energy gets put onto the crowd, and then the crowd enjoys themselves and they put that energy back onto you. Even just a leeway thing, just because I'm freaking ADHD, like sidetracking here. But I'm thinking like when I watch some bands, like I think it's Polyphia, they're really, really technical, and they have to be technical because they're really, really technical, and they have to be stationary when they play because it's so technical.
Yeah.
But for me, just my own personal, even though I think their music's awesome, like watching them live, I've seen some videos of them play live and they just stand there.
Yeah.
But they have to because it's like this.
Because they have to get the tongue out to the side, concentrating.
Yeah, and I'm like, you know, sometimes for that, like if I was sort of relay that to like our stuff, you know, like if I was just standing there, even though our stuff's nowhere near as technical, so we have an excuse to be able to jump around. But yeah, like you don't have to like stand still and be like, okay, I need to play 0 now, I need to play 1, and then and like even if you nailed the whole song note for note perfectly, if you just stood there and play it, it's nowhere near as good of a show as if you were just head banging and jumping around.
Yeah.
And just, you know, yeah, you may fucking stuff a note up here and there, but the crowd's gonna love it. Like it's, you know, I personally love it when a singer hits a note and they're slightly flat or slightly sharp. Because I'm like, that's them live, that's their voice. If they were just hitting every note absolutely perfect, I'd be like, oh, they're probably auto-tuned, or they're probably got, you know, their backing tracks are probably really loud. And
yeah, you actually like to have some of that live discrepancy between perfection and imperfection. Yeah, that's very true. Just being able to sort of relax that tiny little bit, take the pressure off yourself. If you've done the preparation leading up to the event, you've practiced, you've rehearsed, you know kind of the songs, where all your cues and everything, that is your time to go up there and have fun. Just and enjoy yourself,
it. Man, have fun, and the crowd's going to see that, and they're going to feel that, and they're going to give that back to you. Like, there's nothing like a greater feeling than when you're hitting like a heavy chug and you see like people in the crowd just going like, yeah, and like nodding their head. You're like, oh, it literally gives you energy. Like it's this human connection where like you're doing something to them, they're reacting to it and giving it back to you, which makes you do it stronger. And it's like this push and pull.
It gives you the confidence, and it also reinforces like you know, I often find that I'm so nervous waiting for that very first hit for the song, but then once you know you're 30 seconds in and you started playing already, it's like gone. Oh, okay, cool, like it's totally gone. I think going into that kind of thing, like let's maybe talk about kind of both of our experiences in that. So when we go on stage, we've got the intro coming, it's building up. I know that like there might be a beat, for example, I've got to go straight into, or a fill that leads into the main thing, or just a hit. I've got to put myself in that beat or that groove before it happens. So I've got the click track. I'm lucky that we play with a click and things like this. I mean, if you don't have one, you can just sort of hum it to yourself. But I'm singing myself the line or the riff many times over in time to the click. So I'm locked in already before I hit the first beat. Because if you're waiting for that first one and then trying to get in, you're already going to spend that half a bar or 2 bars to catch up to get in time already. So if you lock yourself in before you even get to that point, when the first hit comes in, you're ready to just jump in and you're in the groove, you're locked in. It should seem a lot seamless.
Yeah, I also do something similar where like I'll sing the riff in my head.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like I'll go like like literally like that's stupid. Like if you listen to this, you're probably laughing. But that's literally what I'm doing. Like, and then my fingers are going like I'm literally thinking in my head.
Yeah.
And it really, really helps. Like,
it does
help.
It's just locking you into what you're about to play and then sort of preempting it so that you're ready to roll on the first dot.
And in regards to like anxiety and performance anxiety and, things, before a stage or whatever, like I find this is just for me, but looking at the crowd and actually making eye contact with people, especially strangers, straight away is like, it helps so much because it's the scariest thing to do. And if you just, as soon as you get up there, you lock eyes with someone and you like give them like a thumbs up or you're like, yeah, you're like, you ready, man? Like, I don't know, like even if it's fake, even if you're putting it on and it's a persona, it's like you get past that wall of like, I'm in front of strangers and, whatever. And plus you start to make a connection with the crowd because I've done it. I did it at that small gig. Wasn't Flaming Galah. Was it Flaming Galah?
No, the other one in the valley.
Really small one.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
The people were like freaking a meter in front of us. So it was like, we'll come over with the venue.
No.
It may have been a Sculligan's. Anyway, cool little bar in the city, in the valley. And yeah, like, because they're a very small bar, the crowd's like right in front of you. I just started like looking at people and, making eye contact and being like, and just being like, yeah, I was ready, like, we're about to go, like, yeah, like, come on, like, you know what I mean? And then just, they give you a little smile or they give you like a look of approval or a head nod or they do something and it really gets rid of that butterfly in your stomach, just starts to go away. And then, like you said, as soon as the first note hits, it's like you're euphoric. You're like...
It's so true because you want to be like, you're just trying to push these nerves away, fake it till you make it in a way, like just to kind of trick yourself in your nervous system because you know how to do it. It's just a matter of getting past that initial nerves and then everybody wants to be in, what you might term as the flow state. Like everybody wants to be in this state of just like, when you can kind of just almost...
You're lost in the music.
Yeah, you're lost in it and you can almost watch yourself play it like from a third person perspective. You're kind of looking down on the situation or you're just so ensconced in what you're doing. There's like, it's just happening. All your muscles and your body is just doing it. And that's the idea because you can get and have fun in that state.
Because you'll see other bands too, like especially beginner bands, when they play, they'll a lot of them stand with their back to the crowd or they look really awkward where they're in that intro stage while they're waiting to like start the set. And I personally don't like when bands do that because I'm just like, you're not facing me, dude. Like, where's put the show on. Like, look at me. Like, let's go. Like, let's make something here. And, a lot of them, they'll turn their back to the crowd and they're like looking up and looking at the roof. And like, you can tell that they're awkward. If you're awkward on stage, I can feel that you're awkward and it makes me awkward watching you. But if you come on bullshitting out your ass and pretending that you're the fucking man, like, and the band's awesome, you have to pull on this killer performance and you're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, like, who are these guys? Like, even if your music sucks, it's like, it's like, it's a part of the show. Like, I feel like it works better. Yeah.
It really is. And just sort of having that energy coming up just translates, confidence translates, all of it. Having fun, like you said before, translates. That's what you're trying to do is basically give the best message of your performance across to the audience.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I also find that's kind of comes along with this anxious feeling is
going too much the other way. Like adrenaline, like you go too hard the other way.
Yes,
like
exactly.
From, I'm too shy. Like that other band we saw where they were like yelling at us. I'm not going to say their name, but there was a band that we went and saw. We were playing on the same bill. I probably shouldn't have said that. I've just given it away.
That's right.
At one of the shows, and they were just yelling at the crowd, like like not like, yeah, come on guys, you know, not it was like literally like, get the fuck off.
Oi, get to the front.
Well, yeah,
listen to our music.
Yeah, we were just laughing because we're like, why are you abusing us, bro? Like, stop yelling.
Relax.
I feel like we're in trouble. I was like, what do we do? But that can be performance anxiety as well, because you can be like so nervous that you're like, oh, I'm just going to come out there with heaps of energy, but then it's like nervous energy. And then this can translate to playing guitar. Like, you know, you might pick the notes way too hard, and then you start strumming, you know, strings you're not meant to, and then it becomes very muddy and, you know, just not as clean. Same thing with vocals. Like, I remember the first time I rapped, this is not even in the band, this is way back when I was doing just hip-hop, and I rapped my first gig, and I had so much energy and wanted to put on such a big performance. I was just yelling into the mic, like just yelling, like not even rapping.
Yeah.
Like, it was like I was still flowing and stuff, but it was like, you know, instead of being like, illegitimate cynic is trying to make me in a Philly, I was like, illegitimate cynic is trying to make me in a Philly. I was just like yelling.
Yeah.
And then, because I was freaking nervous. And then
you just get hyped and just like you just push, and it's like
you can blow your voice out, especially if you're a screamer. Like, I remember watching Zach perform for the first time, you know, and he got put up on stage.
Yeah,
for
that's
some
right.
band he was went to see. And I just remember he was just going hard as, and just knowing how he sounds, you know, in real life, and then seeing him on stage, I was like, dude, if you went that hard for an actual set, you'd probably like
pass out.
Voice out. Because you just get so much adrenaline. And
yeah, we've all seen, you know, like a drummer that counts in way too fast, and then like within, I don't know, a few bars, everybody realizes that you're going way too
even
fast.
If you're on time, it's like if you're hitting the drums as hard as you freaking can,
That's
you
true.
might gas out.
Yeah.
You're halfway through your set, you're like, oh God, I can't breathe. Like,
yeah, that's very true.
I actually even did that at Moondog. So I fractured my elbow skateboarding, and then I did Moondog Festival, and I couldn't play guitar, so I just did vocals. And because, you know, I had a bit more freedom, I was like running around stage, and I've never done vocals for the band, just me. So not having the guitar and the chord and all the like things stopping me, I was like, oh, I got all this freedom to hold the mic and run around. Dude, I got so gassed because I was jumping and I was like stomping around stage.
Yeah.
This video of me doing it. And then it got to like the rap section. I was like, roll bus to the grave of God's slave. How would you like to change it? I was like, I couldn't breathe because I had no cardio. I was like, so yeah, that's another part. Just like sometimes you got to take the foot off the gas pedal and not go so freaking hard, you know?
That's very true. It's like, it's all of these little things that you don't think about when you're in rehearsal, because you're in a much more relaxed and kind of stable mindset and sort of body feel. So when you're going up there and the pressure's on, and like all this rehearsal you've done and practice comes down to this moment, and like, you know, the lights, cameras, it's all here. It's kind of like, you know, shit. Better pull this off. But then, you know, obviously, as you said before, like you don't want to get tied down with playing exactly the right notes, because you want to go up there and have fun. But there are times when you'll make a mistake. So how do you personally, like if you say there's a part that you find really difficult, I'm interested to hear what you say, because I'll tell you mine after. But like, say there's a part coming up that's difficult to play, and you're thinking about it, oh shit, here comes this little riff that I find really difficult, and then you stuff it.
Luckily for me, none of our music's hard enough.
I'm just so fucking good. I don't need, it's all too easy.
Everyone who's listened to our music knows it's not hard.
It's true.
However, I will say Glitch will be the hardest song that I've written.
Yeah, okay, so say...
Glitch would be...
Yeah,
would be
even
like that,
put yourself in that.
It's probably the fastest song. The other songs, just before I go on the Glitch, so guitar-wise, there's nothing, but that's not because I'm that good of a guitarist. It's just the stuff that I've written is quite easy to play. So it's not. But I have forgotten vocals before, forgotten lyrics.
Yeah.
I did it on our very first show for Misfit, and it came into the all my life a misfit. Looks like my brain is unlinked, and I just fucking blanked.
Yeah.
That's my instinct, but that you know what I mean? I just stood there. And then I was like, fuck, I'm blanking. And what I did was I just stayed calm because I've been there before. I was nodding my head and I started playing my guitar.
Yeah.
To make it seem like You know, if anyone who didn't know the song, they would have been like, oh, this is just an instrumental section. Yeah. And then when it came back to me, I just went back to the mic and just kept rapping.
Okay.
But I made sure to not just stand there and fucking look at the sky like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, not like you don't stop. You still try and busy yourself and groove with it and try and kind of like
stay musical and stay in the song. Yeah,
staying musical is a really good idea. You're dying a little bit today. That's all right.
I'm not even sick. I had hay fever this morning and I was sneezing heaps and then and
it's just the perfect time to do a podcast. So
yeah, well, yeah. Jordan fucking forced me. My ankles are actually.
Yeah, I've tied him underneath the desk so you can't see. You got it nice hot stick.
Till we have 1,000 subscribers, right? Leave it.
You will keep podcasting, rain, hail, or shine. No, you're right. So that kind of thing is pretty massive, I reckon.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, well, all of these things, just kind of knowing. If you make a mistake to just sort of continue on and like don't get too bogged down with what just happened. Because like if I have a fill or something that's really difficult and I fluff it completely and it just gets stuffed up. The worst thing you can do is continually think about that and go, oh man, I stuffed up that last bit. Oh, that was so shocking. Imagine if, everybody's seen that. Chances are they probably didn't, for one, unless you completely stop, throw a stick somewhere or, do something dumb. Even if these things do happen, like people just will look at your ability to keep going more so than, oh, he just dropped a stick and then it's like, oh, he dropped a stick, but he was still playing the left hand and he still then came back in straight away.
I remember watching Revoid play. I think they're a Brisbane band. I watched them play in Brisbane. They are really good.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good. And I remember being really impressed by them. And then I saw after one of their songs finished, this dude ran on stage, might have been a tech guy for them or something. Yeah. And he just started fucking around with the dude's guitar. And then, then he strummed something and then it all turned back on. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, his guitar was off that entire song.
Yeah.
But the guy just kept playing.
It looked like he was playing. He
was playing. He was just playing. No sound was coming out, but he didn't freak out and just stand there and walk off. And he still played the whole song with no sound because they had two guitarists. So I didn't notice.
Yeah.
I think he was playing lead. Luckily, if it was rhythm, it would have been really obvious.
Yeah,
but
true.
I think he was playing lead, and then something happened with his whatever chain or whatever, and then, but he just played the whole song and they finished the song, and then at the end of it, a dude came on stage, fucked around with something, and then he was back on, and they kept playing. I didn't even notice. I was like, I just thought
seamless.
Cool. Yeah, I was like, he didn't stop and go, oh, look,
well, that's it, because even a lot of the people won't know, especially at our level, not going to know the music. So you may as well just keep going. Just take your mind and focus on the next bit and just stay in that kind of flow state of just enjoying the music and just doing your best.
Yeah, another thing, staying musical as well.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of just, sometimes I like to grab the mic off the stand and walk around, but then I got to make sure I get back by the end of my verse to put the mic back on the stand and play guitar. And there's been a couple of times where I've missed it. I've just been too into the rap or something and I'm walking around, and then by the time I realize I'm at the end of the verse, I'm like, fuck, I've got to get all the way back to the thing. So I'll just take my time because I already know I'm too late. All right, I've missed my cue, but luckily because I'm not playing rhythm, like I said, it's not important enough that people are going to be like, oh, there's no lead line underneath straight away. So what I've done is I've just walked back, not deliberately, but missed my cue, put the mic back in and waited for exactly 8 counts, and then come in on the end of the 8 counts so the song's looped back around, and then it still sounds musically correct.
That's true.
And then, anyone who doesn't, you may have missed the original, da-na-na-na, but as soon as the 8 comes back around, and I just start on the
because you don't want to come in halfway through the section
and it looks like a mistake.
Because then people go, oh yeah, whoa, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah. So having a bit of music knowledge can help as well, of just being like, oh, if I just let the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you jump into it, then you're sweet.
Well, this day and age, especially with sets like ours with backing tracks and so much technology going on.
MIDI automation in the future, guys. Yeah. Get ready.
I know. So we're basically we're coming up with more and more ways to make things go wrong for us during a set.
Pretty much.
Well, that's a big one that fortunately, we haven't had to deal with in a live show element. We've dealt with it in rehearsal where backing track for whatever reason stops or cuts out, click track stops. What happens? What do you do when you're in that situation? I mean,
you
us
just
as
keep playing and you just become the metronome.
That's right.
I saw the coolest thing the other day. I don't remember what band it was. It was a big band. And the dude, it may have even been actually Bolivia's, but whatever.
Yeah, right.
And the metronome, the drummer had a metronome in his ear, and the thing crashed. The thing, whatever. And their fucking roadie guy came out and just started tapping his leg.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
It was like he put his own headphones into the laptop and got it working again, and he was just
that's right. And he was tapping the drummer's leg
to get the metronome.
To show the metronome. That's so sick.
I was like, it was so cool to like. I really want to have a team in the future. Like, if we ever get to like a big enough popularity we can play across the world, that would be amazing. And I would love to have a team that's like musically onto it.
That's somewhat,
notice things like that
and
like,
set you up and just got your back in that moment. Because because for me, like if the click goes, you're right, I become the metronome.
Yeah, you just hit the hi-hat or something.
Yeah,
part where there's no drums active, you just have to hit the hi-hat.
That's right. Yeah, but the worst thing, imagine if we all just stopped and we're like, sorry guys, our click track just stopped, and they're just going,
people get really offended too, like especially old heads, which is completely understandable because they're old school, right? So they they think everything's computerized these days, and we're like, yeah, but I feel like you get people that are on two ends of the spectrum, and I want to be in the middle. So I want to be an old school mind using new school techniques. So like I still want the show to be as live as possible live can be, because that's what it's about. You're playing live. It's, you want that element there. But at the same time, if there's things I can do with technology to up it, make it sound better, put on a better performance, then I'm going to utilize those as well. But I don't ever want to be a band where we're like, oh, sorry, guys, our laptop's dead. We can't play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I want to have ways of being like, hey, guys, our laptop's dead. We're still going to play, but it's just not going to be as
full.
Full and is what it would be if we had the laptop. That's all.
That's very true, because you can have all of these synth elements and things in the background that add to the performance.
But you can still play the songs without them.
Yeah. See, I think, another thing about sort of playing to a click that we can talk about is it's this sort of natural push-pull that a lot of bands like to have with tempo in their stuff. So, for example, you might have a fast section that might stray a few BPM faster than the whole song, and then you might have a really slow breakdown that comes down a couple of dB during the whole song, and it just feels slightly better for both of those sections. Now, I know, like, for instance, Craig Reynolds from Stray from the Path, he didn't used to play to a click. They didn't used to play as a band to a click. And then what he did was he recorded his whole tour for a month or something like that, picked the best versions of the songs that they played live, and then mapped a click track to that performance. Right. So, say, for example, whatever the song is, they played really well at one venue, he would go, oh, it sounded really good here, we must have just sped up slightly, and then he just maps the click, so it speeds up and slows down to whatever their best performance was, and now that's what they play to. Yeah. Which is a really interesting thing. A lot of bands
slow down fast songs too, like live, only by like a couple BPM, because you don't really notice it.
And it's easier to play.
It's easier to play, and they can just nail it. And it's not them cheating, it's just that they can put on a better performance without less human error.
Yeah, especially for all these highly sampled and triggered sets that people have. It's kind of like, let's just minimize the error here and make it like still raw without being well overproduced. Yep. I've not personally seen any bands, I don't know whether we're going to at Good Things Festival, that are like so heavily focused on presets and samples and, triggered playing.
Thornhill's playing, they've got quite a genty sort of metalcore sound with a lot of like sound effects. Maybe they might have a backing track with some shit.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of backing track stuff there.
Is Northlane playing at Good Things?
No, they're not.
They're at that Knotfest.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Like, it'd just be really interesting to see how they manage playing some of these sets. I remember watching back in the day some guys that used to play the double pedal stuff, and it really didn't do the same justice as the record, because on the record it's nice clean triggers.
The transients are like
yeah,
really,
and then
transient.
live, it's just
Yeah,
this
noise.
whole just them spazzing out on the kicks, and it's not mixed the same. So the translation from your record to being able to play that live really gets lost when you don't have the same level of precision. So then, like you said, bringing it down a couple of BPM, sharing the load in terms of what's played in backing tracks and what's played live actually helps to put on a much better performance.
Yeah.
As a whole and closer to the record.
And speaking of gear as well, we've got some new gear that we've upgraded to, which is really cool.
Let's talk about gear for a bit.
So, pretty much we've just been using the gear that me and Jordan have both
accumulated.
I was going to say that. Good. Accumulated over the years of our music production in our personal lives. Jordan's like, oh, well, I got this. And I'm like, oh, well, I've got that. And we'll just, piece it together. But now that we've been going for nearly 3 years now? 2 years?
As a band,
yeah. As a band, we're like, okay, well, we're pretty committed. We really like this. It's a great hobby to have, outside of our personal music. So let's start investing in gear for the band. So now we've got I think it's like a 12-channel audio interface with sends and returns and receives and freaking everything. So now we can send signals out and have multiple inputs in to this audio interface. So not only does that allow us to play a backing track to front of house, as well as the exact same backing track, but with a click to our in-ears, we can now plug in through another output on my XFX, my guitar and the bass, and have the bass sent out to front of house by itself as a mixed stem, and then the bass sent to an actual power amp, which will go into an actual bass cab, and then that'll play the bass through a bass cab live on stage sound as well as front of house sound. So you'll get best of both worlds.
Yeah.
And same thing with my guitar. I can plug my guitar in, output 1 straight to front of house, and then output 1 as well, but right straight to the cab. And then I can have on stage cab sound and front of house sound. And I can, out of output 3, I can do a little shunt on the XFX 3. And then out of output 3, I can go straight to the in-ears. And then when I play, I have it in my ears, and I don't have to have this wedge just blasting music in which is going to help with feedback and, that sound when you get too close to it, and pickups, and, the microphones are going to have less sound blasting at them.
It's very true.
It's just best.
It just puts more control back into our hands. And essentially, originally you playing guitar, you'd have your guitar going in through your pedal setup, out of an amp cab on stage. Then that cab gets mic'd up and sent out of front of house. But essentially, the soundy has all of that control.
Yeah.
Now we have the control to send to have everything ready, sounding good already in the box.
Yeah.
From the XFX, from the pre-recorded bass, all of this and the sound effects. We then have the ability to run the mics and the guitars through this audio interface and send them multiple places at once. So then,
no latency.
Yeah,
all of the outputs are uniformly gained. So it's all.
Yeah,
and you can change the gain manually if you wish to, but they'll all be uniform. So what makes it good too is it gives us the adoption to adapt to different venues. So let's say we go to a venue and they're old school and they go, you have to go out of a cab. There is no front of house, like foyer or whatever. We can just go out of front of house. So we can just go out of cabs.
Yeah.
If they're just like, we'll mic the cabs up and you'll have front of house, but we only want to do mic'd up cabs. If they're old school, we can adapt to that. We can do that,
It's very true. And the other cool thing is that we're sort of getting closer and closer to being able to pull off is the individual in-ear mixes. So at the moment, we only have one receiver. One send.
Well, not at the moment. Our old setup, we only had one.
Right.
Now we're
one. So one sort of one channel or one set of mix that goes to everybody's in-ears. Whereas when we can have individual packs that send different mixes to each other, then I might want more click, less of the vocals, less of the sort of main guitar. I might just want bass and myself a bit of drums sent back through so I can really lock into that click. Whereas as a vocalist, Zach wants most of his vocals in his ear so he can hear how he's doing. He might not need the click. He just wants guitars and drums and things like that. So we can adjust each mix depending on what the person needs.
We can get the mic'd up drum send and have a send back to our audio interface and to our in-ears, so when Jordan plays, we can have literally his mic'd up drum.
Yeah, actually, that's one thing that we do need to figure out, just a mental note, is because when you do that and you send it through, there's going to be, like, already we have zero latency for your guitars and things like that. But the drums for, like, live microphones, the same with the live cab setup.
Yeah, it might be a bit.
It's a slight delay, so you need to, like, I can't remember off the top of my head, but once we figure this out, we can go into a bit more depth and explain it to everybody.
I'll be like that pre-delay thing where you can have them all lined up, but either way, I mean, honestly, at this point, we can just have you having the click loud as fuck in your ear because that's what's the most important to you. And then you might want just a little bit of guitars and a little bit of backing track, so then you can hear what part of the song I'm up to and, you know, being in sync with you. And then me, I'm going to want the click pretty loud because I rely on it, and then the backing track pretty loud too because I use all those little rises and fades and all the little, like, synths that come in to, like, help me know where I'm at in the song.
Yeah.
You know?
One thing I don't like about having in-ears is that I feel slightly disconnected from the on stage.
You need the in-ears though because they're sound protection. Yeah,
sound protection is one big one, especially when I'm, you know, surrounded by big metal cymbals that I'm smashing.
I know what you mean though.
It's just kind of like, I know a lot of people that decide to sort of just flick one out so they can hear the on-stage vibe as well, because that's what the crowd's hearing. And, like, if you're disconnected and I'm, like, slamming on the drums and it's just kind of not fitting in the mix compared to everybody else, that translates to the audience and they're going, that drummer looks like he's in a world of his own over there just playing along. And it's like, well, he actually is.
I'm really looking forward to having on-stage sound now because that's one thing we haven't, well, we've only done it once because of that small venue we played where they said you can only do cabs. But, having that on stage, like, you know, 2x12 or 4x12 cab behind you, giving that, like, real cab sound and through 1,000-watt power amp unit, you know, it's just like having that with the palm mutes and everything and really feeling the trum behind me, and then having the front of house being for the audience, and I think it's just going to be awesome. So
it's a good point. One fix that I do know is quite a cool piece of technology that drummers have now is that they have. It's similar to this thing called a sub pack. I don't know if you've heard about sub pack before. It's for producers, and basically it's like a fucking little camelback backpack thing, and you just strap it to either your chair or to you, and then it's just provides the rumble of the sub.
Oh.
So whilst you're producing, you feel the sub vibrate your pack.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so like instead of having a sub in the room, you know, obviously your headphones don't go down below a certain thing.
Yeah.
This pack vibrates you to make it feel like you can feel the actual bass, so then you can tune around and play thing. And what drum stools have now is they're putting one of these in the seat. So every time you kick the kick drum, it sends a little through your seat so you can have some extra fun on stage. So if you see me with a really big smile after a double kick section, you know exactly what I've got in my seat.
Up and then the seat's just like...
the seat's just,
you got the pole through it?
It's a pole instead of a seat.
Another really cool thing too is with the Axe-Fx is a recent update.
Oh yes, you haven't told me about this.
Yeah, so Axe-Fx 3, FM3 or FM9, is that what it's FM, whatever, the FM fucking model. So they've got set lists now. So this is really cool. So they realized that, you know, when people use these things live, they're going to be playing different shows, and different shows call for different songs in different orders. Different songs in different orders means different presets played at different times. Ooh. So now they've got this set list like option where you can make a set list at the push of a button, and you can drag and drop on your computer like all of the presets and the order of them with the song names.
Oh, that's so good.
Like for us, you know, because we change tunings a lot, this is really good for us because we pitch shift our guitars. So I'm not sitting there tuning every single freaking song because we go from B to A to G to F, drop E, like we'd drop D sharp the other day, right? So we're making all these really cool different tuning songs. So every time we change songs, even if I'm using the same sort of amp distortion and the same cab impulse response, the only difference will be EQ and the pitch shifting. So one semitone, two semitones, three semitones, depending on the tuning. So I have to change scene or change preset. And then if you're changing the song as well, you might have a clean section in that song, like Suffocate, where you have a clean tone with some reverb and then some, distorted guitar, whatever. So yeah, the set list, you can have different set lists, and then you can just go into instead of going into a preset, you'll go into like a set list preset, and it'll just have all of your songs in the order that you've saved them in.
That's amazing.
And then as a click of a button, you can go from, Suffocate to Alter Ego to da-da-da-da-da-da, and then it'll be like an invisible roadie at the speed of light, is changing all of your sounds, different amps, different cabs, different effects, different pedals, different this and that.
That's so perfect.
And you're just changing your rig at a click of a button instantly. And it really, really, really makes it great for live performances because, it's like...
don't get me wrong, that's an amazingly great update, but it strikes me as something that's like a standard thing to think about.
Well, it was already in there, so they already had it, but they didn't have the set list option.
Right, so it's in there I know it was in there with scenes and whatever the other one was.
It was just your preset, and you had 8 scenes in there, and you could flick between your scenes. But now they have a set list where you can put multiple presets in one section, and you can like bounce between them all like way quicker, and it makes it way... so let's say like from 500 to 510 is like your preset section, and that could be like a set list. You can have all of your songs in there, but you may have the exact same set list, but the songs might be in a different order for whatever reason. Slightly
different order. Well, you might
this gives you more control over the live show and makes it very easy to make tweaks. It might be like, oh, dude, we can't play Suffocate at this next show because whatever reason.
That's clever.
And then I can just easily just take it out of the set list, but leave everything else intact without, fucking up the preset.
That's so cool. Maybe you can do a tutorial in the next coming weeks once you figure that out, and put that up. Because, you can, even just for my interest, so I can see it. But I think that would be a good idea. But yeah, apart from that, I think, that sort of covers everything that we wanted to sort of chat on today. In terms of the next month, what's on the cards? Well, I kind of know what's on the cards, but I'm just sort of, you may as well explain kind of what we're doing music-wise, maybe a little bit.
Now that we're a 3-piece, we're going to have to write some new songs. So, So we're thinking of all this hard work we've put into these other songs. We're thinking about just dropping them anyway. And even though we can't play them live, we will eventually play them live as soon as we find, a guitarist that'll fit into the project and want to put in the time and the commitment and who's passionate about the type of music we're making, because, it's also quite, I wouldn't say political, but we're very outspoken with our lyrics and stuff. So some people might hear our lyrics and they might like our music instrumentally, but then they hear our lyrics and they might not believe in the cause or what we're saying, which is completely fine. To each is their own. There's no judgment at all. But so yeah, while we're waiting on a guitarist to come our way, and we'll just drop those songs out so you guys can listen to them and jam them on your way to work and in the car and whatever. And then when we play live, we'll just play a bunch of different songs that are new written songs, and you'll still be able to come watch us play live, and it'll still be good. Yeah,
that's right. So we're just gonna get back to writing some more stuff. You'll see a bit more music from us, and hopefully some more tutorials and things like podcasts now that I'm back and into the swing of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been good. It's been awesome to get back. We're also going to try and line up a couple more guests to bring back on the podcast, because I enjoy having insights from other people. Good Things Festival, I think, is in a month exactly. So we might be doing this post Good Things Festival, the next one. So if anybody is going to Good Things in Brisbane, send us a message, meet up, come say what's up. Let's talk music and just have a good time. So thanks for listening. Anything else you want to say? No?
Bye.
All right. Simple as that. See you guys.